Greetings everyone, and welcome to Nanny Cooks from the Ozarks. Well, we're entering the holiday season. Thanksgiving's just around the corner, and we start thinking of all those delicious foods that we like. And a big part of that is the pies that we have for Thanksgiving. Today I'm going to go in depth about the pie crust that I make. I know I've had a video where we did chicken pot pies and I gave you the pie crust recipe, but I will do it again. Many people really have a fear of making pie crust, and so they resort to those boughten pie crusts that you get in the refrigerator section that are already rolled out. Well, I got online this week and did some research on this. And the ingredients that are in those pre-made pie crust, some of it is bleached flour. Why they have to bleach the flour, I don't know. Also, there are chemicals such as BHA and BHT, which are additives that they put in it for freshness. Now, some scientists have concluded that these two additives are a carcinogen, which can be a cancer-causing agent. And another ingredient that's in it is called xanthan gum. And this is a stabilizer, and it thickens it up. And some of these chemicals are also used to keep it from going rancid. Another one that was in the ingredient list was potassium sorbate, which is another type of preservatives. Now, I kind of have a rule that if I can't pronounce it, I don't buy it. Now, I'd like to tell you what is in my crust. First, we have coconut oil. When I turn and look at the ingredient is coconut oil. That's the only thing. The second ingredient is butter. When I look at the ingredients on the back, the ingredients are cream and milk. So I use unbleached flour when I bake. I don't buy the bleached flour at all. I either grind it myself or buy the unbleached white flour. So the next time you reach for one of those pre-made pie crusts, think about this a little bit. And pie crusts are not hard to make. They really aren't. And so I want to show you my recipe today. But first, I got up this morning and made a pumpkin pie to start the holiday season. We really like pumpkin pie, especially if you put a dollop of whipped cream on top of it too. So this will get us started this holiday season. I'll set this down. Now I'm going to turn this camera over to my mixer, and I'm going to show you how I make my pie crust. I make it in a mixer. It's best to use a stand mixer because it has a bigger motor in it. The recipe that I use makes 4 pie crusts, and it freezes extremely well too. So I have already mixed together 4 cups of flour, a cup of butter, a cup of coconut oil, and a teaspoon of salt. Now, the only other thing that's in this is a cup of milk with a teaspoon of vinegar in it. I don't know what the chemical reaction is, but it does make a difference too. So you mix this milk and vinegar together and let it set about 10 minutes before you use it. So I'm going to turn this mixer on, and all we're going to do is put the milk in here and finish it up. See why I mixed it beforehand, because it is loud. Okay, it's mixed up then. So like I said, this pie crust will make 4 pie crusts. And what I do is after I mix it up like this, then I put it on a floured board, make a circle about 9 or 10 inches, and divide it in 4ths, wrap it each one in saran wrap, and freeze it. And it freezes so well. Then when you need a pie, all you have to do is set that out, roll it out, and then bake it or put your filling in it too. Now, I want to show you some different types of what they call fluting. Turn the camera back here. I'm going to get this up close so you can see it. Fluting is how you finish off the edge of the pie. Now, my family, they don't like a big glob of crust on the edge of the pie. So all I usually do is put a fork in flour and then prick it around. And that's our fluting. Another way you could do it is trim your crust even with the edge of the pie and take your thumb. I'm gonna show you here how to do this. Take your thumb and your index finger and press it between the other index finger. And that makes a nice fluting for you. Now, if you like a fat fluting around the edge, you can leave some of the crust on the edge, turn it under like this to finish it up, and then do the same thing with your finger and thumb and just make your fluting. Now then, if you are going to make a cream pie, you would want to bake your crust first. And when you bake it, you want to prick it first so that it doesn't get bubbles in it. And then you put it in about a 375-degree oven and bake it for about 10 minutes and let it cool, and then you can put whatever filling you want to put in it. Now then, another thing is with these that you bake ahead of time, sometimes they will shrink, especially if you have stretched your dough. And we're going to practice that here in a minute of how we can keep from stretching our dough. Because when you do that, that stretches the gluten, and then it will shrink back. But a good way to keep it from doing that is, this is foil, and I've just put some beans in it, some raw beans. Now I'm going to sit that in this pie plate with the crust in it, and when you first put it in the oven, you do this, and you bake it about 10 minutes, and then take your foil and beans out, and that will give that pie crust a chance to stabilize and not shrink as much. You can reuse these beans too. You can either cook them or you can save them for the next time that you make a pie crust like that. All right, hope this helps you. Now then, we're going to do a pie crust. I've got more pie crust around here this morning than you could shake a stick at, I tell you what. First thing, you want a floured board. I've got some extra flour here. This is one of my pie crust doughs that I've had in the freezer. I always wrap it in saran wrap, and then I put several of them in a zip type bag, and when I need a pie crust, I just take it out, and it just takes about 10 minutes for it to thaw, maybe 10, 20 minutes for it to thaw. Okay, one of the keys of rolling out your pie dough is keep plenty of flour on your board. Now, the recipe that I use, there's enough oil type product in it that you don't have to skimp on the flour. You can keep it really really floured. And that's what I like to do. And then just keep stirring your flour around. Now I'm going to get this pie crust or pie pan back up so we'll have a pie pan to put it in. Now, to keep your dough from shrinking back, if you're very gentle with rolling it out, just roll it 2 directions and just talk to it and tell it it's a good old pie crust and you are sure going to enjoy eating it up. And just be gentle, because when you make those hard moves, that's what stretches the dough and makes it shrink in the oven. So I'm just going to keep going around and around it. Make sure my rolling pin is full of flour, and I'm talking to it and I'm telling it, I don't know if you're going to be a pecan pie or if you're going to be a peach pie. You might be another pumpkin pie. Now, while I'm doing that, I turn my pie pan upside down to make sure my dough is going to be big enough. Then I'm going to make sure I have flour on it. And I think I need to make this one just a little bit bigger. So there, we'll try that. Then grab one end of it, put it over your rolling pin, and roll it up. Set your pie pan on here and unroll it. Then very gently, make sure you're not stretching it. Go around it and make sure you're still being nice to it. If there's any places that aren't quite long enough, it's very forgiving. And then however you want to flute it, which is finishing the edges off. Like I said, we just like a plain fork fluting. So I'm going to cut around here. Now this is going to be a fruit pie, so I'm not going to bake the crust ahead of time. But I'm going to show you a little bit about, make sure you have flour on your fork and then just go around it. And flute. I hope this helps you to try a pie crust. You know, a lady in our Bible study class on Sunday morning, we've been sparring and fun back and forth for several weeks about pie crust. She says she'll never roll out a pie crust. But I'm going to still work on her. I don't know if I'll succeed or not. But I hope you will try this. And, you know, we're living in real uncertain times right now, but we still have a lot to be thankful for. Our happiness is not out on a ship waiting to be unloaded. True happiness comes from within. So let's count our blessings this holiday season and enjoy the holidays. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christ-centered Christmas. So until next time, happy cooking. Bye-bye.